is my desktop, and I also have my Anypoint Studio shortcut on my desktop. Can everybody check whether you have this shortcut on your desktop? Just type yes if you have, just type no if you don't have in the comment section. Just type yes if it is there, just type no if it is not there. The shortcut on the desktop. Okay, I think almost everybody of you have it. If you don't have, don't hesitate to say you don't have. Okay, I think everybody of you have it. Awesome. Okay, so now what we have to do, I have to start the Anypoint Studio. Sometime there may be a problem with the admin rights of your user. Whatever user you logged in, that might not have admin rights. So what you can do, right click on this, right click and say you can follow along with me. You don't have to watch it, do it. It's a doing thing. Right click on the icon and always go for run as administrator. Otherwise, we just double click and start it, don't do it. There may be problem with the admin rights and all with your user if it doesn't get open. Better way, always have the habit, right click and run as administrator. I'm running it. It is asking me password of my administrator. I entered that and my Anypoint Studio is starting. So I want everybody of you to start your Anypoint Studio. And once it is started, just put in the comment box, started. It is not yet started. Okay, once it is completely open, then it will say started. Let us see how much time will be taken by your machine and my machine. Whose machine is fast? Wow, Tedesi is fastest. Rahel is faster. Let me put, for me also it started now. So that's how it is. So for Sunny, not started yet. Just put started once your Anypoint Studio gets started like this. Of course, it will not show the project like this. All is okay. For Tamrat started. What about others? Madhusudan started. Very good. So Srikant, I think you will be last. Okay, 4 GB machine. Okay, started for Madhusudan. Who is next? Still, I'm waiting for many people. Sunny and Brooke and Freybot. So Mule. So whether it got, oh, Srikant started. So does that mean that for Sunny and other people that got not started, or you're not doing it? Okay, so it got started now. That's great. So gradually for everybody, it is getting started. That's very good. Okay, now let us understand this complete sections, different sections. I'll label it out here, the different sections. What I do, I open my any project, any dummy project I open, maybe I do have the Hello World project here. This one, I just open, it's having the error. I don't want to use it. I want to open this, maybe this project and this. Okay, and I double click on this and something is getting open. Okay, this is like full-fledged project. Don't worry, you will also develop your own project, not to worry about that. Now the next thing what I want to do is, let me minimize my video and let me have the snapshot of this so that I can label that, I can label on the screen also, I guess, but better way to share with you, I can have the snapshot of the screen and I go to my Paint, MS Paint, and there I paste it so that I can label that with different things, that's what I wanted to do. Perfect. Now I again get my video back where it's gone. Just a second. Okay, here it is. And here it is. And okay, so here it is. Okay, now what I'm going to do is that I'm going to label this with different stuff, So I will use like this pen, color, and the width of the pen is this one. Okay, so purposely I'm using red color to highlight it in the good way. Okay, so let us understand all these windows over here. You don't have to do anything on your machine now, just observe. Okay, just observe. So this part, whatever this part is there, this part, okay, I'm just labeling that. So don't misunderstand. I'm labeling this particular part. Okay, this part. The arrowhead is the part which I want to label actually. This is called as Package Explorer. It is even written at the top. This is called as Package Explorer. Okay, what this Package Explorer is used for, what it contains. Let me put that in my notepad file. I'm just opening my notepad file where it's gone. Let me open that. Okay, my notepad file. So much stuff is installed on your machine. Let me see where is, yeah, here is my notepad. Okay, so Package Explorer. First thing is Package Explorer. Package Explorer. Okay, and the Package Explorer, what we need to have is what it is used for. It shows, okay, it shows, all good. Some chat notes I'm getting. What it holds, Teresa, is that all good? Okay, it shows projects. Now, which kind of projects? It shows Mule projects, which I developed so far. So actually, right now you can see that all these Mule project, I'm going very slow, so don't miss any part of that. So many projects are there. Now, if you look at your Anypoint Studio, you don't have a single project over here. Okay, so I do have so many projects, and soon you're going to have so many projects as well. Now, where these projects are getting stored, let me ask you $1,000,000 question. Where these projects, whatever projects, Mule projects I'm developing, where are they stored on my hard disks? Where are they stored? Let me see if somebody can really think about it. Where these all projects are getting stored? Where are they get stored? Mule practice, absolutely. That is your workspace. If you remember, whenever you started your Anypoint Studio first time, it has asked you workspace, and we browse that to Mule practice. So let me show you on my machine on C colon, I do have Mule practice folder. I'm getting into that, and you can see that in that Mule practice folder, I do have all these folders stored. One project, it is represented by one folder. You can see JMS Q Sender 11. This is what my Mule project is. And the same project you can see here, JMS Q Sender 11. Let me see that, where it is. Here it is, JMS Q Sender 11. So all these projects are stored in Mule practice folder. It's a workspace for you. So all these projects, get stored in form of folders. Okay, don't look at my typo thing. Get stored in form of folder inside your workspace directory or workspace folder. That is C colon slash Mule for practice. That is what I define. Mule for practice. That's the reason I always ask everybody of you do the same folder so that whenever I explain that it will be easy for me. So that is what will be Package Explorer, right? So it is a package. If you see this project, it will be in form of package. So what your project contains. Now, next question, what typically Mule 4 project contains? That is the next question. So here is the answer. It contains various subfolders. So if you look at, once you build a project, you will see various subfolders are there. Let me show you my Anypoint Studio, and let's say any typical project. So even if I take very simple Hello Demo 1 kind of project, let me take that. This is the Hello Demo 1 project. So it contains various subfolders. So SRC main Mule is the subfolder. Okay, so SRC is the subfolder. There is a main subfolder inside that, and there is a Mule subfolder inside that. Then same way, you can say SRC main Java. What is the use of that folders and subfolders? Do not think about that right now. This is the subfolder. Then what it all contains. There are many subfolders like that. There will be some database related libraries are there, some HTTP related libraries, some JRE system library. This is Java library. So JRE system library, the jar file is there, which is Java library. Then Java libraries will be there. If you remember, we set the path of JVM, Java w.exe into Anypoint Studio configuration file, if you remember. Okay, so that kind of Java library is also embedded in Anypoint Studio. Anypoint Studio Mulesoft requires Java libraries. What else? That is in JRE jar form, it is in JRE jar forms. That will be in the JRE jar forms. Then you do have different library files that is there, and you will have some configuration files as well. So mule artifact.json, let me open this file. So this is the configuration file. So gradually we are going to make use of that file. Let's see, pom.xml. So this is also configuration.file related to Mule server. So every project will have that configuration file. Okay, POM stands for project object model. Okay, so Mule artifact.json files are there. So it contains some configuration files as well. So there are two configuration file, Mule artifact.json and pom.xml. So POM stands for project object model. That's what is there. Okay, that's fine. Okay, that's cool. Okay, so perfect. That's what pom.xml will be. Am I right? Okay, so that's what typically a project contains. So let us come back to the next window now. This is all about Package Explorer. As of now, knowing this much is more than sufficient for us. Are you good? Any question, please ask. Are you good? Then just type G in the comment box. Just type only G. If you are good, just type G and I'll move on. Very good. So you are good. Why I'm asking you to type so many things in the comment box? To just check that how much alert you are. If I'm not getting any message from anybody, I will see that no, that person is just logged in. Sunny, are you typing the messages? Okay, so that's how I call out the name, Okay, that's fine. Another thing, what you have is, let us focus on this window. Here, this white area, this white area. This white area. Yes, I got the message from Sunny as well, Freewood as well, everybody. This white area is called as canvas. Canvas on which we build our project. You can see that whatever this hello demo flow is there and all, this is my project. And it is on the canvas. Okay, it is on the canvas, right? So canvas is the place where I create my project in form of flow. So this is called as flow. This particular rectangular border is called as flow. Okay, so canvas is the place. Let's say canvas. The next thing we need to understand is canvas. So canvas, it is an area where we build Mule project in form of flow. In form of flow, we create build project in form of flow. Okay, that's what is there. That is canvas. Now the flow. Flow is the rectangular boundary which includes all the components of your flow, you can say, all the components of your Mule project. So that is called as flow, the rectangular boundary. Then you can see that this flow is divided into two parts. So whatever my flow is there, that is divided into two parts. This part is called as source part. This part is called as source part, and there is a dotted line in between, and this part is called as process part. Source part and the process part. So every flow is divided into source and process. Let me take every flow is divided in two parts. Okay, so source and process. Source and process. That's what. Now source contains what? You can see, we can see something contained inside source part and some ovals and circles with the different color that are there in the process part. So all these, this and this and this, all these, they are called as processors. So these different components which you are putting in this process part, those are called as processors. Okay, so you may put it here. Process part includes processors. Okay, which takes care of some responsibilities, and that's how it happened. Source part includes connectors. So here you can see the source part, whatever it is, including this one. So this is called as connector. Don't worry, whatever I am drawing on the screen, I will save that and will give you as board snapshot. So don't worry about taking notes and all. Fully concentrate what I'm explaining. Okay, so flow contains connector and processors. Those are separated with the dotted line. Left hand side, it is called as source. Right hand side, it is called as process. Okay, so that is how it is. So this is how your project is organized. Okay, now let us see. So what I explained you so far, I explained you about Package Explorer. I explained you about Canvas. I told you about flow. I told you about source and process. Your flow is divided into that. That is fourth. I told you about connector. That is fifth. I told you about processors. That is sixth. So far, 6 parts of the whole Mule project I explained you. Okay. Then let's move on to the next option. That is these 3 tabs. 3 tabs. This is what 7th thing I'm explaining you. 3 tabs. Which are the 3 tab? One is message flow, second is global elements, and third is configuration XML. So let's get into 3 tabs. So first tab, First tab is nothing but, what is that? Message flow. Message flow. Okay, so what it shows your project. This tab shows your project in graphical user interface format. So just like pick and drop thing, it shows the whole project. So if you look, by default, you are on. If I go and open this one, XML. So first tab is message flow. Now remember, every project is getting represented or getting converted into XML format. Okay, so in Mulesoft, every project is getting into XML format. So whatever all these components and all is there, that is also in XML format, right? So that will be, you may put it like, this is like 1 message flow and 2 global elements and 3 configuration XML. So 1, I told you that what happened with the message flow. Now second I'll tell you. Third is nothing but configuration XML. So for every project, there is XML generated. So if you look at all your stuff, you can see in the XML. Have a look on that. XML, I hope you have gone through the prerequisite document which I shared with you. So it introduces you with XML also. So that XML, whatever this XML is there, it is exact representation of whatever is there in the message flow. You can see there is first flow and there is second flow. So you can see that. So this is first flow set of all tags and it is second flow set of all tags. So name of the flow is like this. Okay, then it contains HTTP listener, logger, set payload and logger. You can see here listener, logger, set payload and logger, everything like that. Okay, so that's what will be the XML code. So configuration XML, it is the XML code represented for your project. Now, why it is showing the XML code? Sometimes you may have to play around with this XML code as well manually. Instead of doing the configuration in the graphical user interface, you will prefer to do that in XML directly. I will share that kind of example with you. Okay, so now this configuration XML, it shows the project in XML form. Now the second tab is global elements. So in your project, you might have some global elements. So soon you will come to know about that. Then you can see that global elements over here. So in my project, HTTP listener configuration, that is global element. So just I'm putting, it shows global elements at project level. Okay, global elements at project level will be there. Okay, now let's see what next in our plate. So we understood the seventh thing, 3 tabs. 3 tabs we understood. Okay, all 7 components we understood. Now let me come back to this. Now this might not be available for you currently in your Anypoint Studio because you don't have any project created and open. That's the reason this Mule Palette is not there. So the 8th thing, oops, just let me give it back. Okay, so the 8th thing is Mule Palette. Mule Palette. So if you look at this Mule Palette, whenever you create your first project, you will see the core module. So there is something called as module. Now processors. So from where you will drag the processors in your flow, you will drag them from Mule Palette. So Mule Palette will contain processors which are categorized in form of modules. Wow, so big statement. So let me put it here. Mule Palette contains processors categorized in form of modules. So there are different modules. So most generally used module is core module, which contains frequently used processors. So for example, if I go to core module, you can see, I can see frequently used. So once I go here, you can see the Mule Palette. So on core, I can see all the frequently used component over there. There is something called as favorites. So that will contain frequently used component. Doesn't matter they are part of core or they are part of other modules, right? So core module is there. Then HTTP module is also there and socket module is also there. So core, HTTP and socket, this will be by default available to you. And if you look at your package explorer, same kind of libraries, let me show you. Any project, you know, if any project, same kind of libraries are already there. So to represent the JMS module, you can see JMS. I have used JMS, that's why it is there. To represent the HTTP, you have HTTP libraries here. To represent the core, so for core anyway, that core libraries are always there. Socket is also there. So HTTP, socket, these are already there, you know. So that kind of library form. So these all modules are available in the jar form, which are available over here, right? So I hope I'm not jumbling you up. These all are modules. So let me just put modules. Core module, HTTP module, and last one is sockets module. Sockets module. These are available by default. If you want to add more, you can add more. So Mule Palette contains modules. Modules contains processors and connectors. And that you can drag and drop from Anypoint Studio to your drag and drop from Mule Palette to your canvas window. That is what is the Mule Palette. That is the 8th thing we understood of this particular UI. Now, let us come to here. Here, these are, now let us not call them as tabs, otherwise you will get confused. Let us call them as 3 windows. Let us call them as 3 windows. Okay, which is a 9th thing we are understanding in the whole UI. Okay, so which 3 windows? Mule properties, and then problems and console. Okay, so Mule properties, 3 windows. Let me take it. 3 windows. So first is Mule properties. So what does it mean? Mule property. So here, I'll show you in the Anypoint Studio. Whenever you select any processor, let's say I select this logger. So on the Mule property, let me double click on the logger maybe, and let's see what happened. On double clicking any processor, you will see that properties in the Mule properties window. So if I click outside again, it will show Mule properties. I will again double click on set payload. So you can see set payload properties are getting appeared. So Mule properties shows properties of any particular selected processor, right? So that is Mule properties. It is window to display properties of any window to display properties of any selected processor or connector. Selector any selected processor, any selected processor or connector. Okay, any selected processor or connector. That's how it is. Second one is problems tab or problems window. This window will show if there are some problems in your opened project. So you can see there are 2 errors and it is showing that 2 errors. So syntactical error. So we will say problems. It will show syntactical error, syntactical error in the project. So before you execute your project, it has to be removed the syntax error. So problems window that contains syntax error. Third is console window. So console window, it will show output messages. It will show output messages whenever you deploy your application. Soon we will come to know about deploy and all. You deploy your application. So whenever we look at our first project, we will see that it shows output message. Sorry for the typo. It shows output messages whenever you deploy your application. It's a console window, right? Console window. Now I show you one frequently used menu option. Okay, so these 3 windows I explained. Let me just put that. 3 windows we already explained: Mule properties, problems, and console. Okay, so this is 9th thing. 10th thing I want to tell you about a menu option which is frequently used: Windows, perspective, and reset perspective. Okay, so frequently used menu option. Let me put it down. Whenever you disturb your Windows setup or your Windows layout, whatever window layout of Anypoint Studio, that got disturbed. So frequently used menu option. What is that? That is, go to window, perspective, and reset perspective. So it's like window, perspective, and you say reset perspective. Why this option is so useful, I show you that. Whenever you disturb any window, for example, I just picked up this console and put it somewhere else. Okay, I just take this Mule Palette, I keep it somewhere else. Okay, I just put it, so you can see a whole lot of disturbance in my layout. Okay, so some window is appearing here, some window is appearing there, package explorer appearing here. Okay, then this particular window is appearing here. It's like that. You can see everything got disturbed. Now, most of the Mule developer, they are very comfortable working with the default layout. So if I want to reset my layout to the default, reset the perspective. So I will go to window, I'll go to perspective, and I'll go to reset perspective. Reset the perspective and you will come back to the normal. That's what I said, that it's a frequently used option. Okay. Another thing, so let me note it down, whatever I said about reset perspective. Whenever layout get disturbed, then you can use this option to come back to normal or default. That is how it is. Another one, 2 buttons, 2 magic buttons. I call them as magic buttons. I show you in the snapshot. I hope you can see my right side of the window. Okay, right side of the window, extreme right. Look at the extreme right. I'm drawing something over there. So these 2 buttons, you know, you can see that, right? Okay. So internet is not good working today. Geb, so I think it is problem from your side maybe. Is my audio, video, and my screen drawing, is it in sync? Just type sync in the notepad, note comment box, sync. Or if there is a problem, just say it is slow. It's not in sync. Sync or not in sync? Okay, it is already in sync. Okay, fine. It is in sync, Okay, that's fine. So maybe Gab, check your network or maybe rejoin or so, that might help you. But anyway, we are almost up to the end. That's okay. Let's try to manage that. Okay, so two windows to the extreme right hand side. Okay, let me take those two windows here. You can see these two windows. Okay, I'll take the snapshot and I'll cut that two windows, So if I mouse over on this, you will see it's a debug perspective and this is design perspective. So debug is if whenever you execute your application, you get into the debug perspective. And whenever you want to come to the design, you press again that button. So whenever I ask you to switch to design perspective, you need to click the last button. Whenever I ask you to switch to debug perspective, you need to put the first button. That's how it is. Let me see if I can take it and zoom it and then I'll show you. Okay, give me a minute. I'm just pasting it here. And this two button, I'm just cutting them and I'll zoom that. Okay, so maybe let me see if I can zoom it. Okay, yes, I can zoom it very well. Okay. So where it is, okay. Yeah, this two button, this two button Let me cut this two button and let me put it in the same file in which I was explaining you this thing. Okay, so I'm back here and here I paste that. Okay, these two buttons, So these two buttons are nothing but okay, I do have my pen with me. These two buttons are magnification of these two. Okay, so what we have, this is like design perspective. So whenever you wanted to shift to design perspective, if you are designing the project, go to design perspective, that is there. And if you want to get into the runtime perspective, you will say this one, which is like debug perspective. So it will change the arrangement of all the windows and the windows which are displayed. Some additional window will be also coming in front of you. So that is debug perspective. So there is a sense if your project is running, then it is sensible to go to the debug perspective. So these are like perspectives, two type of perspectives. So in future, whenever I say go to debug perspective, click on the second button. Whenever I say go to design perspective, second button, debug perspective, first button. This is the 10th thing you have understood. Then 11 things, you can see this M unit. So 11th thing, this is related to unit testing. Right now, we don't have to worry about that. It is related to testing thing. And this is M unit is the plugin for that. Okay, so M unit. So that kind of window is appearing over there. You will not use that window much, not to worry about that. Okay, so that's how 11 things which you must know about your Anypoint Studio UI. Now we are ready to build our first project.